Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So, you may or may not have heard, but Amazon workers scored a massive victory in New York. They basically told Jeff Bezos to suck it by voting to form a union in Staten Island. You all probably know by now that Amazon workers have been fighting, they've been trying to unionize in various locations throughout the United States. All the while, Amazon has been at least accused of, I'll say that, allegedly, they've been using union busting tactics, illegal tactics to try to prevent unionization. I've shared with you guys how they literally were paying Amazon workers to act as Twitter trolls and to go on and to tell people how great it was working for the company, how much they loved it there. So, would they have done that if they weren't paid to? I don't know. Anyway, their tactics, though, were so blatant and egregious that they were actually forced to hold a second vote down in Bessemer, Alabama. They have a facility down there, and they had voted against a union previously. But then they found out, oh, yeah, they did a lot of things to scare people away from it. So unfortunately, the Alabama results are still up in the air at this point. However, it wasn't as wide of a gap as it was before. So in the previous vote, there were quite a few more people who voted against it than in this new election. So 993 employees voted against the union. 875 voted in favor of the union in this new election. However, there's 416 votes that are being contested by either Amazon or the union. And then there were also 59 ballots that were voided. So apparently both sides are going to be meeting over the coming weeks, and they're going to discuss these contested ballots and determine which ones, should be included, which ones should be thrown out. There's also another Alabama warehouse that's going to be voting on whether to unionize or not. That's going to take place in this next month. And that facility has approximately 1,600 employees. So this win in New York gives a lot of hope and energy to the movement. The people in Alabama are saying, if we didn't have this win in New York going into this new vote at this other Alabama facility, it would have been much harder. But now people see, oh, yeah, it can be done. We can do it, and we don't have to be afraid. And here's the deal. Amazon employees, they're not asking for the world. They're not asking for anything outrageous. I mean, we've all heard about Amazon delivery drivers. I think I've shared it with you guys here, having to urinate in bottles. They've had to defecate in bags because of the inhuman pace at which Amazon forces them to work. It's despicable. So, in addition to better wages, Amazon employees just want to be treated like human beings. They want to be treated with dignity and respect and not like robots. And they say that safer working conditions are an absolute must. I mean, there's story after story of people being injured. Their friends aren't even allowed to take a minute when their friend is, dies of a heart attack on the floor at one of these facilities. It's just cruel. And it's been proven that the working conditions at Amazon warehouses are far more dangerous than at other warehouses. In fact, there was a report that was released in 2021. And what they found is that Amazon facilities, their serious injury rate was almost double of the rate found at other warehouses not owned by Amazon. So it's not just, warehouses in general, they're just dangerous places, people get hurt. No, when your rate is almost twice that of another warehouse, you're doing something wrong. And if you don't care, then it's all about greed. And as I always say, because inevitably there's always somebody who's going to say, oh, well, they can just go and get another job. They don't like it. They go work at another warehouse. It's not always that easy and simple. In some parts of the country, Amazon is the only game in town. they've driven so many other companies out of business that they have a near monopoly on workers in some regions. And for others, they can't afford to take time off to go look for another job or to go to interviews. Because remember, these people are paid typically hourly. So you don't work, you don't get paid. And when people are living paycheck to paycheck, they can't afford to do that. They can't afford to go interview for another job. So this win should give every American, and especially American Amazon workers, hope that things can and will get better. I mean, we already saw what happened with Starbucks, and so many of their stores now have unionized, which is awesome, but it's a different demographic. You know, in the Amazon stores, you have people of all ages, people of all different political persuasions. And so this was a much bigger win, whereas it's been shown that in the Starbucks stores, they tend to attract much younger people, much more progressive people or liberal leaning people. So it was kind of inevitable, you know, or kind of expected that they would want to unionize. But with Amazon, it's like people from all different stripes. So, and it should also serve as a wake-up call to employers and to the elite in this country. You know, if a behemoth like Amazon can be challenged and beat, you better start treating your workers with compassion and gratitude. And yes, they still have a couple of hills to climb. I mean, Amazon can play all kinds of games and, you know, thwart their efforts to try to get their collective bargaining efforts going. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you guys posted. But, you know, before you go boo-hoo-hooing, if you're someone on the right and you're anti-union, anti-worker, before you go boo-hooing in my comments section about poor Jeff Bezos, let me remind everyone that this guy pays an effective tax rate of less than 1%. One of the wealthiest people on the freaking planet, and his federal tax rate is 0.98%. Not 98%, 0.98. This is the same guy who literally just commissioned the construction of a yacht that was so big that Rotterdam was planning to dismantle one of their historic bridges that survived a Nazi attack, just so the builder of his ship could get it out to sea for him. It's 417 feet long. I looked it up. It cost him $500 million, and it will cost approximately $25 million a year just to run his damn yacht. It has a 40-person crew. This is a man who's worth $181 billion, billion with a B. But his employees live in fear of becoming ill. They live in fear of being injured on the job because they're living paycheck to paycheck through no fault of their own. Not like they're out living it up, sailing around on a yacht. You know, and don't give me any shit about Bezos. Oh, he worked so hard. He created jobs. You know what? He stole as many jobs as he created from small companies. And he didn't do $180 plus billion worth of work starting Amazon. You only get that rich off the backs of others and by exploiting them and by exploiting our ridiculous American tax loopholes. So anyway, guys, if we're not going to have a billionaire tax in this country, which is looking more and more unlikely because of the people who make money off of billionaires like Joe Manchin and every Republican, then you know what? He can step up. He can pay his employees more. He can give them time off. He can give them safe work conditions. That's the least he can do for the people who sweat blood and tears every day to make him almost 200 billionaire. Just saying. Anyway, this is exciting news, guys. This is a sign between them, between Starbucks, that our country is moving in the right direction and that workers are going to finally start taking some power back from these greedy corporate owners. So exciting time. I think we're going to look back at this as the turning point in this country. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.